All right. Hey, team. Welcome to our weekly Monday Night Huddle. I'm Amber Ike. Thanks so much for jumping on or catching the recording if you're catching the recording. Just a couple of quick announcements. I don't think I'm missing anything. So if you guys have another announcement, let me know in the chat and I can go over that. But today was our first day of our 30-day push. So I think it was last Friday, we started talking about this 30-day push that several of us are doing, and we are so excited about it. It's kind of a funny, quick story. Several of the leaders on our team have just been feeling this sense of urgency to really, yes, we're in the summer slow time, things might seem a little slower compared to like the rest of the year, which actually they don't with the 4th of July special we had. But several of us leaders were just feeling like it's time to go, it's time to put the pedal to the metal and do this thing that we know we're going to do anyway, and just really take it up a notch, take our businesses up a level. So we've been feeling this way, and then we all kind of started talking the other day. Oh, wait. Hang on. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Casey, do you know how to, it says you're screen sharing. You guys see that?
Yeah, Casey just wanted us to see your beautiful picture.
Casey, I love it, but it's kind of... Do you know how to take... I don't even know how to... I didn't know that was possible. Okay, there we go. Yes, Casey, we acknowledge that you're on the call. Okay, anyway, so we started this 30-day push, and it started today. If you have not been added to it and you want to be added to it, let me know because it is not too late. The premise of it is for 30 days, we are going to be working through a list of our 200 potentials and really being intentional with building those relationships and really, being able to talk plexus. And actually, Steve Miller, he's on here tonight. He created this awesome Excel spreadsheet, you guys, that is going to be perfect for following up with people. Typically, that's where we lose majority of our people because we're not following up like we need to. So he created this Excel tracker sheet that once you type in their name and when you contacted them, it automatically updates when you need to be following up. So brilliant, and I'm super excited to be using it. So if you are in the 30-day push or if you want to be in it, stay after the huddle ends to stay on here. And we are going to be touching base about the 30-day push and just checking in about that. And here on out, we're going to be meeting weekly after the huddles to touch base on that. Okay. So I think that's all we had for announcements unless, okay, you guys are so funny. Okay, hang on. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be actually, if it's loud on your end, do you mind muting? I'm just hearing a little bit of background noise. Okay, so tonight we're talking about mountains and valleys. Here's one of my favorite quotes that I was reading about the other day, and it's by Winston Churchill. And it says, "Mountaintops inspire leaders, but valleys mature them." I love that. Mountaintops inspire leaders, but valleys mature them. Hang on, guys. I'm like so paranoid by background noise right now. My brain doesn't work when I hear background noise. Okay. So does anyone agree that their plexus journey has been full of ups and downs? Raise your hands if you would say that your plexus journey has had ups and downs. Okay. So several hands raised. Ups and downs, mountains and valleys. I've been on this adventure for over 2 years and have finally decided that although I would love to live on the mountaintop forever, I mean, who doesn't want to be on the mountaintop forever, right? That's where we want to get to, and that's where we want to stay in our businesses ultimately. But it's actually the valleys that prepare me for the bigger mountains ahead. Once you get to a mountaintop, you kind of think, well, I've arrived, I reached my goal of silver, or I reached my goal of being able to stay home, or, all these different amazing goals that you have in place. But then you get to that top of the mountain and you kind of look over the horizon and you see another mountain. And then all of a sudden your goals kind of increase. That's natural in this business. That's a good place to be. But in order to get to that next mountain, what do you have to do? You have to go back down the mountain and, you know, encounter a valley. So a landscape full of mountains and valleys is not for the faint of heart. It requires growth, consistency, determination, and vision. One thing I've learned along the way is you can't have mountains without valleys. Think about that. You won't have mountains unless there's valleys. Hang on, guys. I can't find the noise, so. Oh, wait. Okay, got it. Yay, I figured it out. Okay, you cannot have mountaintop experiences without valleys involved. That's just pretty much the way it works. They are a package deal, like peanut butter and jelly, or in our case, ProBio 5 and BioCleanse. I never recommend one of those without the other. They're a package deal, and so that's how our business works with valleys and mountains. They go together. So once you realize that mountains are nothing without the valleys in between, it makes us realize that the valleys or the low seasons or the down times are inevitable. And if they are inevitable on this journey, then why not make the most of them? You know, if you know you're going to encounter them, then why don't we switch our mindset towards them and make the most of the valleys? Valleys are the training ground for the mountains up ahead. Valleys are where our character is grown, our muscles are strengthened, our resolve is solidified, and our vision is fine-tuned. If this journey was just a plateau, you know, this boring plateau just like this, from silver to diamond, if this is all it was, first of all, that would be extremely boring. That would be very uneventful. But it also wouldn't require any growth in us, right? We could just be the same person when we started as when we finished. So now, notice I didn't say change. We don't have to change who we are to be successful with Plexus, but we do have to be willing to grow. All of us can do this, but in order to reach the top, all of us must grow in certain areas. You don't have to change who you are, but you do have to be willing to grow. I will say for me, I'm the same person that I was 2 years ago, but I've grown immensely in certain areas of my life. And I would not have grown in those areas had Plexus not fallen into my lap. So they say network marketing is just a big personal growth journey with an awesome compensation plan attached to it. So you're basically getting paid to grow, which is pretty awesome when you think about most of us pay to go to college, and I don't know if I remember anything I learned in college. So we're getting paid to learn, you know, we're getting paid to grow. And that's because you cannot get to your final destination without realizing there are areas one must focus on and grow, and in the process, increase your paycheck along the way, which is pretty awesome. You guys, many times we look at the top leaders in Plexus. You know, you think of the diamonds that you admire, the diamonds that just seem to have it all together and just have this mountaintop experience. And we see them standing on the mountain and we think that they just landed there. You know, we're like, out of nowhere, this person's at the top of this mountain and she must have always been there, you know, but that's not the way this works. People don't just get dropped on the mountaintop of diamond. They work to get there. They grow to get there. But the thing is, most of us, we're not going to see those struggles. We don't see those setbacks, and we don't see those sacrifices that they encountered to get to where they are now. With that outside perspective, we don't see those things. All we see is their mountaintop experience. But you guys, it's in those valley seasons that those diamonds that we love and admire made a decision to keep going. All of them have had valley experiences, but they made the decision to keep going, to keep pressing on toward their next mountain and put one foot in front of the other and keep their eyes straight ahead, even when it would have been easier just to give up, you know, but they had that mountain in front of them. They knew what their goal was. Valleys are where character is grown. Valleys strengthen us for the mountaintop experience. Think about it. You know, we all want to be diamond. You know, we all want this amazing time freedom that we know that this provides. But if you were just placed on top of the mountain of diamond, you know, without working to get there, without growing to get there, A, you probably wouldn't appreciate it as much. And B, you probably wouldn't know how to keep it. you would get to this, you would probably be making this check of like $40,000 a month and be like, okay, let me go buy a yacht next month, and then you don't have any, you haven't worked for it. You don't have any value in it. It doesn't mean as much to you. But when you start out, and we all start at the same place, and then you work your way to silver, and you know what an awesome experience that was to be on top of that silver mountain, and then you see that gold mountain up ahead, that is where it gets exciting, because yes, you have to grow in the process, but you know that you've achieved something. You know you've worked for it, and that you deserve that mountaintop experience. Okay. So since valleys are a part of the journey to the top, and we all know that we're going to have to go through them at times, and no one can escape them, let's see how we can make the most of them as we encounter them. So I just have 5 quick tips on how to make the most of those valley experiences that we all go through. First and foremost, acknowledge when you are in a valley. It's okay to recognize that you are in a valley. We're not going to be on the mountain at all times. That's okay. Acknowledge you're in that valley, but don't set up camp. You are not there to stay. This is not where you are destined to spend the rest of your plexus journey. You aren't staying there. You are only passing through. So realize you are just on a journey towards the next mountain. You are on a mission to reach your mountain. Number 2, surround yourself with positive and inspiring people. Have you guys ever been on a road trip that it was going to be like 20 hours or whatever, like a long, crazy time, but you were with some of your closest friends? Did it seem like that awful of a road trip? If you're with fun, inspiring, your best friends, it's fun. It's an adventure. Even though, it's not the quickest thing, you enjoyed it. You made memories together. The same with plexus. Surround yourself with positive, inspiring people. You guys, some people stay in the valley longer than necessary because they find other people in the valley that aren't trying to leave the valley. And you guys all know people like that, people who just want to complain that they're in the valley. They don't actually want to get out of the valley. They just want to complain about being in the valley. So make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that want more, that are expecting to get out of the valley, that realize that they're on the path towards their mountain. Make sure you're staying away from people who are complaining all the time or pointing fingers about, my upline doesn't do this, my downline doesn't do this, my sideline doesn't do that. Those aren't the people you want to be with in the valley. Those aren't the people you want to be with on the mountain either. Make sure you're not surrounding yourself with people who are making excuses. Those aren't the people you want to be walking this journey with. Because all of a sudden, when you're around those types of people, the mountain seems further out of reach. But when you're with people who are positive and inspiring, that mountain could be, 3 miles away. But you see it, they see it, and all of a sudden, the journey is going to be enjoyable. No matter how long it takes you to get there, you're going to get there. So, but when you, oh wait, yeah. I just said my notes without even reading them. That was cool. Okay, so number 3, have a vision of where you are heading. Okay, I've kind of touched on that already, but have a vision of where you're heading. Keep your eyes focused on the next mountain. You might be a gold ambassador, and you're so excited that you're a gold ambassador, but you really want to be senior gold. Don't look at that valley on the way to senior gold and just like, oh, I have to jump 150 points now. That seems so far. Just focus on that senior gold. Get that senior gold in your mind, set your mind on it and just start walking towards it. Let's see. Don't lose sight of it. Don't start watching your feet day in and day out. On this journey, sometimes we just kind of go through the motions. We're just like, okay, going through the motions, post on Facebook, did this, did that. But don't lose sight of what you're going towards. You must keep your eyes on the next mountain. Sure, take in the view around you, enjoy the valley as you're walking and seeing the beautiful flowers and whatever may come along your way. But don't get too comfortable in the valley because you are on a mission. You have a vision of where you're going. Number 4, make a decision to grow through the valley, not just go through it. So like I said, we all are going to have to go through the valley, but it's up to you whether you grow through the valley. You might as well make the most of your time there, right? I'm I'm the weird person that I'm like, if I'm going to be in the car, I might as well be listening to personal growth. Or if I'm on the treadmill, I might as well be listening to personal growth. I just feel like when you have downtime, when you're walking through a valley, you might as well be making the most of it and growing yourself as a person. So the same in our plexus journeys. In those downtimes, use them as opportunities to grow stronger. So once you reach the base of that mountain, you are stronger and better prepared for the climb. Number 5 is our last goal. Our last tip. Set a goal on your ETA. When do you plan to reach the end of that valley and the beginning of that mountain? Realize that you get to set the pace of how quickly you get through the valley. You're the one deciding how quickly you're going to go or how slowly you're going to go through that valley. So set a pace that you are happy with and have a goal in mind for when you will be entering the mountaintop territory. Then make sure you stick with the pace that you've set and don't take long, drawn-out rest stops. We've all had those road trips where, on your GPS it says you're going to get there in 5 hours. But, along the way you saw Buc-ee's, which is a really cool gas station down here in the South, for those of you that don't know about Buc-ee's. And it's a really awesome gas station with great bathrooms, and you can make your own sandwiches, and it's amazing. You can buy t-shirts that say Buc-ee's. It's like a whole experience. So you stop to get gas, but you spent an hour there. Then you jump back in the car to head to your destination. You're like, holy cow, we haven't made any time. Now we're going to get there a whole hour later. So realize that when you're taking those pit stops, that you're the one slowing yourself down. So just make sure that you are showing up every day, putting one foot in front of the other, because if you're not going to reach that mountaintop any quicker. So it's pretty much your pace sets the tone of when you're going to reach that mountain. So valleys are not meant to be long-lasting vacations, you guys. They are pit stops on the way to your final destination. So on this journey, there will be ups and downs, mountains and valleys. Obviously, we'd all love to just enjoy the ups at all times, but ups are not ups without the downs, just as mountains are not mountains without the valleys.